Hello, welcome back to Let's Play Shadowrun, where we are continuing to do between-run maintenance of our relationships with people. I like your model as well as your portrait. We had a tech specialist, Egret. She was tall, gawky. She dyed her hair bone white. She had a drone named Arlo that followed her around like a lost puppy. She was kind of a jack of all trades, but she could get the job done. Fun at parties, too. Our de facto team leader was a guy named Sui. He was a wiry troll, if you can imagine that. Probably about 2% body fat, all skin and bones, walked with a hunch to make himself look smaller. He was a shaman, followed rat like me. Sounds like an interesting group of people. It was, but then everyone I've worked with has been interesting in his or her own way. As a rule, shadowrunning isn't a profession that attracts boring people. Okay, I think I've got a grasp of the team dynamic. Keep going. It was a tech specialist, a muscle. Honu was the muscle, Egret was the tech specialist, and there was the rat shaman, troll rat shaman, whose name I forget. All right, moving on. So one day, Sui brought us a job. Sui was the rat shaman. He'd met a client in Victoria Harbor Bar, an Eastern Tiger exec. Guy wanted us to steal something from him, a shiny object. She raises her hands. I know it's stupid, right? But that was how the Johnson described it to us. The shiny object. That was what he wanted us to get. He never gave it any other name. Seriously? A rat shaman hired to steal a shiny object? Yeah. You can see how the gig would be hard for us to resist. Anyway, you're kind of oblivious to some things, aren't you? I think your client was screwing with your other rat shaman. Anyway, the client told us what to look for. He described it as a chunk of red jade about the size and shape of an ostrich egg, with a mirror polished surface and gold wire inlays. He said that it'd have paper charms hanging off of it, food talisman, Taoist sorcery stuff. We weren't supposed to touch those. The client told us about the shiny object's then owner, an old hedge wizard turned entrepreneur named Kong Ji Yan. And where was he supposed to... So you were supposed to steal a crystal ball from a wizard, essentially. When you boil it down like that, it sounds kind of silly, doesn't it? But hey, that's the world we live in. And like I said, Jiu Yan wasn't just a wizard. He was an entrepreneur, a business wizard. The guy had resources. From what we were told, the old man was keeping the shiny object in one of his warehouses. He had a bunch of them. He built himself a nice little empire selling magic paraphernalia through puppet vendors in the Yao Mate night market. Supposedly a good fifth of the stalls in that place were on Ji Yuan's payroll. Yeah, what kinds of magical paraphernalia are we talking about? She begins counting off examples on her fingers. Pickled reagents in mason jars, hermetic scrolls and charms, relics looted from Buddhist temples, crates of old Balinese Rangda masks, fist-sized stones from a great dragon's kidney. Really? Kidney stones? Dragon kidney stones? Okay. Ji-Yan sold it all. How he got his hands on it in the first place is anyone's guess. I get the picture. Good. Thought you might. We'd cased the warehouse for a couple of nights before the run, and we were pretty sure that Zhu Yan was keeping our payday in the vault area at the very back of the building. But the old man had enough triad protection that we'd have to be sneaky to get there. Sui was the one who came up with the plan. We'd split up outside into the warehouse in two teams. A Team A would create a diversion, and Team B would hit the vault while security was looking the other way, and we'd grab our payday, regroup, and get the hell out of there. Yeah. Splitting the group is always more trouble than it's worth. Not in Shadowrun. Sorry to say, splitting the party is sometimes necessary in Shadowrun. This is why the fact that it's not a class-based thing. I mean, they have archetypes, but it's primarily point-based. And so it's possible to get people that can do a little bit of everything, though going a little bit into magic is problematic. But yeah, a lot of situations that you run across in Shadowrun require splitting the team. On the tabletop game, in other words. And the game is designed that you can handle it better. D&D is not designed for splitting the party. No. The party depends on each other way too much. But in Shadowrun, the party is designed to depend on each other, but in ways that don't require them to be in physically the same position. The party depends, the team depends on each other to do their jobs when they're halfway across the city doing something else that is connected to what you're doing now. Anyway, seems straightforward enough. How did it work out? Surprisingly well up to a point. Team A, Hanu and Egret circled around to the loading dock just like we'd planned. Sui and I waited by the service entrance. Oh, that's smart. Send the two people who are magical into the magical warehouse so that they can pierce the magical defenses. That makes total sense. It does, really. We didn't have to wait long. A couple minutes in, we heard this ungodly crash, then another and another. As it turns out, Egret had rigged into Ji Yan's network of automated forklifts. She had 6 of them running amok in the loading dock, chasing down workers, and crashing themselves into anything marked fragile. Oh dear. Next time we're on a run with a loading dock, remind me about the forklift trick. It's awesome, right? A dreamy smile spreads across her face. Egret really outdid herself. I wish that I could have been there to see it. Egret's distraction did what it was supposed to. As Sui and I watched, most of the Triad guys at the service entrance abandoned their post and went off, hauling off toward the loading dock. A couple of guys with baseball bats stayed back, but we handled them easily enough. We slipped inside, made a beeline for the back of the warehouse, where the shiny object was supposed to be. Let me guess, something went wrong. Oh no, actually, it was there, just like we thought it would be. The door was open and everything. The shiny object was sitting there inside in a teak cradle, gleaming with reflected light, just like the client had said. It had a ring of Taoist talismans hanging off of it like a grass skirt. The paper all crinkled with age, and this wasn't a warning sign? I don't know. You know, you'd think for being a shaman that the idea of something that is wrapped up in magical talismans would be major bad news, but for some reason it didn't really occur to me, and even now it doesn't seem all that important. Anyway, on with the story. We didn't waste any time. I reached in and grabbed the thing. It felt strange through my gloves. The jade sort of pulsed as if it had a heartbeat. Okay, that sounds ominous. Yeah, tell me about it. I wanted to drop the thing, but it was our payday. So I slipped it into my satchel instead. I couldn't get the flap closed quickly enough. The package being secure, Sui and I turned to hightail it out of there. Then things went to shit. Did the shiny object do something unpredictable? No, not the shiny object, old man Ji Yuan. He was standing there right in front of us, larger than life. I'm guessing that when he heard the commotion in the loading dock, he'd come running, well, waddling, to make sure his treasure was safe. As it turns out, it wasn't, because I'd already stolen the thing. He'd looked displeased. What did you do? What do you think we did? We had our backs to a wall. We lit the old bastard up. It was pretty epic, truth be told. Spirits were summoned, spells were discharged, the vault door sealed behind Zhu Yan like something out of a movie. At one point, the old man leapt onto Sui's back and tried to bite his ear off. I won't bore you with a play-by-play of how the fight went down. In the end, we crushed him. Unfortunately, the fighting had caused some collateral damage. At some point during our showdown with Ji Yuan, the control panel for the vault door must have eaten an arc of lightning or the blast of a powerball. It was toast, all black and melted, and neither of us could fix it. Oh, so you were trapped in the vault. Yeah, that's about the size of it. It was only a matter of time before the old man's raiding security guys found us in there. There was only one way out, a ventilation duct up high in the rafters, but it was too small for Sui to fit through. He was a troll after all. I had the shiny object, but if I left Sui there and security got to him, well, you do the math. So here's the conundrum. I got our payday in my satchel. The team is split. It's inevitable that more Triad 49ers are going to try to find us, but we don't know how many. Honu and Egret and Honu are holding their own, but in the loading dock for now. I can stay with Sui to help fight off the inevitable wave of Triad 49ers, but we'll be badly outmatched, like badly. The odds of survival won't look good for either of us. If Egret weren't pinned down in the loading dock, she could probably get the vault door open, But in order to get to her, I'll have to leave Sui alone in the vault. If Ji Yuan's reinforcements find Sui before I get back with Egret, well, she uses her thumb to draw a line across her neck. So that's the scenario, Seattle. A lot to work with, I know. Tell me, what should I do? This is suicide. This sounds like it might be what happens. Take the gamble. Go for Egret. It's the plan with the best chance of success. Could have done that, I guess. It might have worked. Of course, it could have gotten Sui gunned down in a vault, too. But in retrospect, that wouldn't have been a huge loss. Anyway, that wasn't what I did. I saw what I thought could be a way to save the day, so I went ahead and took it. I read the first line of this and then immediately went to covering my face in my hands. Oh. I fished the shiny object out of my bag. I still remember how the Taoist talismans that ring the thing crinkled in my hands. I remember shrugging and saying, "No, the hell with it." I put the thing in Sui's bare hands and told him to go nuts. It was almost like Sui had been waiting for me to pass him the thing. He seemed eager to take it. He hugged that chunk of rock to his chest like a newborn baby. Color swam in the stone, and something changed in his eyes. Then old man Zhu Yan's 49ers breached the door, and Sui unleashed hell. She pauses, frowning, stops scratching folly, and uses the hand to rub her eyes. Finally, she turns back to you. A sour look pinches her fingers. What went down in that room? Well, I've only seen that kind of carnage a couple of times in my life, and I've been running the shadows for years. Those Triad men were torn to scraps by the end of it. I don't think I'll ever forget the sounds that they made. She clears her throat. I spent most of the fight huddled up in the corner for my own safety. What Sui let loose from the stone didn't seem terribly interested in discriminating between friend and foe. What do you mean by that? Did he summon hostile spirits or something? Something like that. Truth be told, I don't know what they were. Like I said, I was hiding. But he couldn't have done it without the shiny object, not in a million years. Whatever they were, that rock brought them there. So what happened then? She shrugs. We waited for things to calm down in the vault, for the things to go slithering away. I think that Sui had some limited control over them, which is why they didn't eat us. After they were gone, Sui gave me the shiny object back, and I put it in my satchel, and we bailed. We collected the others on the way out. They were blissfully ignorant of what had happened on the other side of the warehouse. I didn't see a reason to change that. We hightailed it back to the docks, caught the first boat back to the sinking ship. Mission accomplished. Goblet looks away again and stares off into space. From what I'm told, people still avoid Juyan's warehouse like the plague. It's supposed to be haunted even to this day. People who set foot in the building keep turning up dead. Pretty sure I'm one of the only living people who knows why. Abruptly, your body language changes. Anyway, that's it. Lesson's over. If you got any questions, go on ahead. Trying to find a moral here, Goblet. What's the point to this story? There was one when I started telling it. I've had stories like that. I thought I was going to tell you to be comfortable with breaking the rules. I don't think I'm going to say that now, though. I'm not feeling it anymore. Why not? At least your team made it out of this run alive. They didn't stay that way for long, but let's leave that for next time, okay? I don't want to get into it just now. Can you tell me more about the sinking ship? Yeah, sure, the story's over, so we can get into it. I moved on to the sinking ship when I was a kid. I think that I was 12, maybe 13 years old at the time. In the beginning, it was just me and a couple of rat shaman friends, Cadmus and Malvina. They were older, but they were always cool to me. Is it typical for groups of rat shamans to congregate like that? Not terribly, no. I mean, we have lodges, same as any other group of shamans. You can usually find a few of us hanging out in those. I guess that there are just something special about our little group, or maybe about the sinking ship. We liked it. We felt at home there. A bunch of rat shamans on a squatter commune called the sinking ship. Okay, Shadowrun, I love your sense of humor. This is better than the noodle extruder thing. Didn't hurt that the sinking ship was well stocked and provisioned when we found it either. And don't look at me like that. It wasn't abandoned. It was abandoned when we took it. Abandoned? Yeah, there was a team of Shadowrunners that had lived on the thing before us, but they bid it on a job. Cat and Mai heard the knock of opportunity, and they claimed the rat for rat in second record time. Taking over the sinking ship wasn't an easy job, mind you. The previous owners had installed traps and automated defenses all over the raft. Cat had his hands full with those for a month. What kind of traps are we talking about? Oh, she shrugs. The usual stuff. Explosives, pop turrets, that kind of thing. Kat and his sister Yasmin took care of most of it without too much trouble. The biggest problems were the scuttling charges. The runners who built the raft had installed these explosives all along the perimeter that ripped the bottom out of the thing if it were ever seized by the police. The explosives were tricky to deal with. Cad was able to disarm them, but he had to leave them where they were. It was always just slightly uncomfortable knowing that I was sleeping on top of a couple 100 pounds of dormant explosives. I'm wondering if that's going to come into play later when we do your special mission. Yeah, I can't blame you there. Hey, like I said, it was free. They weren't really even any rules to follow, which suited me. Malvina was sort of the leader of our little nest, but we never really listened to her. She was always trying to play the mom card, instill a sense of responsibility into us. It was cute. She did have a propensity for getting things done, though. I have to give her that. Are you doing my voice right, or are you just randomly doing some sort of Valley Girl voice? It sounds like you're just randomly doing some sort of Valley Girl voice. Keep your voices consistent. I know you've never managed it, but please keep your voices consistent. Anyway, after a few months of other people started showing up, squatters, homeless people, shadowrunners, assorted crazies. As long as they stayed cool with us, we were cool to them. Eventually it became a community. Imagine that. Think you wound up squatting on the bolt hole because of your time on the sinking ship? I don't know, maybe. Never thought about it before, but yeah, maybe. Corner of her mouth curls upward. I guess that I'm a water rat now. Huh. Let's take a break and come back to this later. Of course, like I said, it's a long story. So, was there something else that you wanted to talk about? That's all for now, Cobbett. Talk to you later. Oh yeah, hey Seattle. I'm sorry this lesson wound up getting a little unfocused at the end. I'm really sure what came over me. It's cool, don't... Truth be told, I don't know how... Okay. Happens to the best of us. Well, I still feel bad about it. So look, I'll make you a deal. Your next lesson will definitely be on point. I'll tell you what it will be about up front. No more question and answer sessions. How does that sound? Fine by me, Gobbet. Catch you next time. She waves. Next time! I love Gobbet. Gobbet is wonderful. Gobbet is amazing. Gobbet or Nishka? Gobbet or Nishka? Oh, no, these two cannot be compared. These are masterpieces of character creation, of NPC creation, that cannot be judged against each other. They are both incomparable works of art. Yep. Okay, so are you talking to me yet? Come back later, we'll talk. You are not talking to me yet. So, before I do another run, it's going to be bunk time. You wake up with a start. Once again, you're tangled in your sheets, drenched in sweat. Your throat feels like it's on fire. You can't remember what your dreams were about, not precisely, but again, you feel that yearning sensation, the emptiness in your gut and your chest, your head throbbing. You heave yourself out of bed. Okay, every time I do that, something weird happens. Will you talk to me now? Nope? Okay. So, it is time to choose a new thing. Oh, okay. So that hand sign for picking something up was from the previous map. The original name has been sloppily painted over with black paint. Newer but somewhat weathered characters have been painted in bold brushstrokes and read bold hole. Yep, okay. Nothing new there. So, we are packing new armor, new pistol, which we're probably not going to use because I mostly claw people to death. Um, I could go and get Cyber Spur instead of Cyber Claws, but I do like the AP damage. So I think I'm going to stick with the Claws for now. If it gets to where I can have a monofilament whip, Cyber Whip, yep, I'll be going for that. Let's see, go to board the train. I think I'm going to be mean to you and do another social run. Travel to Repulse Bay to dig up information on Neville Maw. Bring one other person. Eos, Sprint Shirky, X-Flow, Killuminati, Alabrad, El Duce. Okay. Okay. I could bring Duncan. I don't want to bring Ractor. I'll bring his drone. I could bring Gobbet. Let's bring Gaichu on it. That would just be amusing. I'm thinking Gobbet or Duncan. Duncan. Oh, Gobbet. Oh dear. If I can bring everybody, I'll bring everybody. I doubt we need them all, but sure. Yes. And there's... Oh, my timer's about to go off. 48, 47, 46. So when the map resolves itself, I'm probably going to end... I'm going to cancel the timer right now.